Welcome to Podcast Creator Flow 6 Momentum by Design by D Creator, powered by Howdy Analytics. Today, we're taking a deep dive into this really incredible stack of sources called Creator Flow Part 6 Momentum by Design. And look, this isn't just about, weathering the storms of the creator economy. It's about actively designing your success, building something that actually lasts. Our mission today: let's extract the most important nuggets, the surprising insights that can help you stay relevant, agile, and, well, truly unstoppable. So, if you've ever felt that market shifting under your feet or maybe wondered how to turn casual contacts into really strategic collaborators, you are definitely in for some profound insights.
Oh, absolutely. It's a powerful read, this one. It gives you a really comprehensive framework. It helps creators not just navigate change, but actually anticipate it and leverage it for growth. What's really fascinating here, I think, is how it redefines momentum. It's not just chasing trends, it's about building something resilient, something deeply rooted. So yeah, we'll be digging into 7 core principles today, each one designed to give you clarity, conviction, and some very practical tools you can use pretty much straight away.
Okay, so before we jump into those 7 principles, maybe give us the big picture. Like, at its core, what's the foundational shift this source wants us to grasp?
Right. It's fundamentally about being proactive. Think of it like being an architect for your creative journey. The main mission is empowering creators to stay relevant, agile, and unstoppable. And that really means designing your path forward, not just reacting to whatever happens externally. It's a shift from being a passenger in this whole creator economy to being the pilot, taking control.
Okay, I get that. Designing momentum sounds great, but I can almost hear listeners thinking, where do I even start? Especially if things feel okay right now. And that takes us right into the first principle. Pivot before the panic. That sounds, well, counterintuitive, doesn't it? Why pivot before there's an actual crisis?
Yeah, and that's where the psychology gets really interesting. Humans, well, we're wired for comfort, right? Our brains like predictability. But in the creator world, that kind of rigidity can be a silent killer, as the source puts it. It talks about things like cognitive dissonance, that uncomfortable feeling when data conflicts with your beliefs, and the sunk cost fallacy, where you stick with something just because you've already poured so much time or money into it, even if it's not working anymore.
Right. Makes it hard to let go.
Exactly. These things make it tough to shift, even when there are subtle signs telling you to. Successful pivots, the source argues, balance that gut feeling, that intuition with solid analysis. Even neuroscience backs this up. Your prefrontal cortex, the planning part of your brain, it actually works better when you anticipate change rather than being forced into reacting during a crisis.
So it's about tuning into those quieter signals, not waiting for the alarm bells to start ringing loudly.
Yeah.
Can you give us a concrete example? How does this play out for a real creator?
Yeah, definitely. The source shares Alex's story. Alex was a digital creator focused on solo graphic design tutorials. But in mid-2024, Alex started noticing subtle things. Engagement slowing down a bit, fewer comments, subscriber growth kind of plateauing.
Okay, not a disaster, but...
Exactly. Nothing catastrophic, just a quiet whisper that things might be shifting. So instead of waiting for a real downturn, Alex made a strategic pivot. Moved from just solo tutorials to doing live stream design sessions with other creators.
Collaboration.
Right. And the result? Engagement doubled. Audience diversity shot up. Subscriptions saw significant growth. And the key thing is, this wasn't a panicked reaction. It was strategic. It was informed by data, but also guided by that intuition.
That's a fantastic example. Alex's story really drives home the point about being proactive. It sounds like making small, regular experiments, even when things seem fine, builds up that agility muscle, something most people only try to flex during a crisis.
That's it, exactly. The source suggests simple things like monthly check-ins. Look for those early signs, subtle shifts in engagement, metrics flattening out, maybe hints of audience fatigue. It's about creating a cycle. Observe, assess, experiment, refine. These little tweaks can prevent huge, painful overhauls later on.
Makes total sense. So, okay, having that proactive pivot mindset is step 1. But where do you actually get the insights for those pivots? That brings us to the next principle. Power up with smart networks. This has got to be more than just collecting LinkedIn connections, right?
Yeah. Oh, much more. Connecting it back to the bigger picture, it's about turning those casual contacts into what the source calls networks that think. Think of it like a living ecosystem that challenges you, supports you, and really sharpens your perspective. The source leans on social capital theory here, basically how relationships create value. It stresses having both strong ties, people you trust deeply who give honest feedback.
Your core group.
Right. And weak ties connections outside your usual circle who bring in fresh ideas and perspectives.
Avoiding the echo chamber.
Precisely. The magic is in nurturing both types. That's how you get genuinely new insights.
That's a really useful way to think about it. But how do you actually do that? How do you map out this thinking network strategically? It's not just about knowing lots of people.
Well, the source suggests actually categorizing your contacts. You've got your core allies, the truth tellers, then peripheral innovators, people in different fields sparking new ideas, and bridges, folks who connect you to totally new industries or audiences.
Okay, that's practical.
Yeah. And there's another great example here. Jordan, a lifestyle creator. In early 2025, Jordan noticed a shift, new buyers coming in. Some were immigrants looking for connection. Others were domestic citizens focusing more on self-improvement.
Interesting mix.
Very. And Jordan's thinking network, which included a marketing expert and a cultural consultant, helped flag the emotional drivers behind this. These groups weren't just looking for products, they were seeking belonging, connection.
Deeper needs.
Exactly. So Jordan pivoted from generic lifestyle content to more tailored storytelling, like building roots in a new place. The result, a 40% audience growth and much deeper engagement, because the network provided that crucial insight.
Wow. Jordan's story really shows how a diverse network can help you spot trends and understand the why behind them. It's not just about contacts, it's about collective intelligence.
Right. And the challenge often isn't just meeting people, it's being intentional about cultivating those relationships for mutual growth. Your network becomes like an early warning system.
Okay, so you're building this smart network, you're poised to pivot. Now, how do you really connect with those audiences you've identified? This leads us to principle 3. Master the buyer mindset. What does that actually involve? Decoding emotional versus practical cues, especially when things feel uncertain.
Yeah, this is critical. It asks, are your buyers currently driven by fear? Maybe a scarcity mindset where they're focused on deals, short-term value? Or are they feeling more optimistic, looking for inspiration, identity, connection, an emotional surge? The source links this to behavioral economics, how psychology influences our decisions. It notes that during downturns, people are more sensitive to loss aversion. So freebies, discounts, they work really well then.
Makes sense, fear of missing out on a deal.
Exactly. But in growth phases or recovery periods, people are often willing to invest more in stories, community, transformation. They're buying into something bigger than just the product itself.
So it's not just what they buy, but the feeling driving the purchase. How could a creator figure that out? How do you gauge that shift in your audience?
Well, the source suggests a practical tool, a simple 2D map. Imagine an x-axis for market mood, going from scarcity to abundance, and a y-axis for buyer motivation, from rational to emotional.
Okay, like plotting where your audience sits.
Precisely. Then you tailor your offers and your messaging to fit that specific quadrant. Take Sarah, a wellness creator mentioned in the source. Late 2024, she noticed some buyers were feeling optimistic about economic recovery, while others, maybe newer immigrants, were seeking community.
Different emotional states in the same audience.
Right, so instead of just pushing discounts, she launched a course with strong emotional themes like finding your place in a changing world. And it worked. Sales jumped 50%, community engagement went way up because she met people where they were emotionally.
That's incredibly insightful. It shows creators who really get their buyer's mindset can lead with empathy and precision. That's powerful.
Absolutely. It's about understanding those subtle undercurrents, being prepared.
So you understand the buyer mindset. But then there's visibility. How do you make sure getting seen actually leads to real connection and sales? Because let's be honest, visibility can feel really fleeting sometimes, right? Like a bright flash that fades quickly.
That is such a critical point, and the source draws a really sharp distinction here. It says, visibility without value is like a loudspeaker blaring in an empty room.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. It gets attention maybe for a second, but it doesn't build anything lasting, no real connection, no conversion. So this principle is all about aligning your attention-grabbing tactics with the actual value you provide, recognizing that attention is a currency, but it only pays off if it's invested wisely.
So not just chasing eyeballs, but getting the right eyeballs for the right reasons. Telling stories that genuinely resonate, not just jumping on the latest trend for a quick spike.
Exactly right. The advice is to do a value audit. Look at your best content, your most successful products. What's the common thread of value there? Then refine your positioning. Emphasize the transformation, the benefits, not just the features. The source uses Mia, a fitness creator, as an example. She went viral in 2024 with some catchy workout trend.
Happens all the time.
Right, but instead of just riding that wave blindly, Mia paused. She did that value audit. And she realized her real offering wasn't just quick workouts, it was personal transformation, sustainable well-being.
A deeper value proposition.
Totally. So she shifted her storytelling, her programs towards those longer wellness journeys. And she kept a loyal, engaged community long after that initial viral buzz faded away.
That's a brilliant example. It shows lasting momentum comes from aligning your presence with purpose. That takes courage, especially stepping back from a viral moment.
It really does. But it's about building strategic visibility, anchored in real value. That's what builds resilience.
Okay, but all this pivoting, networking, auditing value, it sounds exhausting. I mean, creators are often solo operators or small teams. How do you manage all this without burning out completely? Does the source talk about that mental load, about building emotional efficiency?
Yes, and it's crucial. The source frames it as emotional efficiency, basically treating your emotional energy like it's your most valuable, non-renewable currency. It's not about being emotionless or just pushing through fatigue. It's the opposite. It's about recognizing your internal signals, early stress, overwhelm, excitement, drain, and making decisions that are grounded and aligned with your energy levels, managing it sustainably. Because chronic stress literally reduces brain activity in the areas you need for creativity and smart decisions. It makes you reactive, not intentional.
So it's not about ignoring emotions, but using them intelligently as a guide, managing your state.
Precisely. And the source offers some practical tools for this. Things like quick morning check-ins. How am I feeling today? What needs my energy? Journaling can also help getting that inner noise out on paper to clarify what really matters. And creating decision filters. These are based on your core brand values.
Like a checklist.
Sort of, asking questions like, does this opportunity align with my core mission? Does it genuinely add value? Is the emotional cost worth the potential reward? There's an example of Maya, a wellness coach. She hit serious burnout in 2023, chasing every trend.
Been there.
Right. So she paused, journaled, and reconnected with her core belief, sustainable wellness. Then she deliberately cut out gigs that didn't align, focused only on long-form programs she truly believed in. Result: she got her joy back and attracted more loyal clients. It shows how conviction anchors you against the chaos.
Wow, that's like a hidden superpower, isn't it? Turning potential chaos into clarity, protecting your passion. That's sustainable creativity.
It really is. It's the foundation for momentum that actually lasts.
Okay, so let's say you're emotionally balanced. You really get your audience. You're aligning your value. How do you make sure you stay current? The landscape changes so fast.
Yeah, that's where the relevance audit comes in. The source also calls it the adaptability audit. It's basically a strategic framework to systematically check and refresh your whole creative toolkit. Because, as the source points out, what killed it last quarter might feel totally stale this quarter. Trends shift, audience tastes evolve, economic conditions change.
Constantly moving targets.
Exactly. So this audit looks at 3 key pillars. Your ideas, are they still fresh, inspiring, relevant? Your funnels the whole journey from discovery to conversion. Is it smooth, intuitive, frictionless?
Okay.
And your language, your tone, your phrasing, does it still resonate? Does it reflect the current cultural context and your audience's mindset?
So it's like a regular health check for your entire creative operation.
Wow.
What does that look like in practice? How does a creator actually do this audit?
Well, you can validate ideas using polls, surveys, even just direct conversations with your audience. Ask them. You analyze your funnels. Where are people dropping off? Can you simplify steps? Reduce friction? And you consciously refresh your language across your emails, your social posts, your website copy. Make sure it feels current, culturally aware, and emotionally resonant. The source even suggests creating a simple scorecard for these areas, rating innovation, friction, resonance.
Making it measurable.
Right. There's Jamie, a productivity creator. Funnel conversions started dipping. Using the audit, Jamie found some ideas felt dated, the funnel was too complex, and the language lacked emotional connection. By recalibrating all 3 freshening ideas, simplifying the funnel, warming up the language, conversions jumped 35%.
That's impressive. It makes those invisible problems visible and fixable. Adaptability isn't just a buzzword. It's like the bedrock of staying relevant.
And it fosters that mindset of continuous improvement, evolving with the market, not just reacting to it.
Okay, brings us to the final principle, which feels like the ultimate destination. Legacy in motion. What does that really mean for a creator today? Sounds bigger than just content.
It is. Legacy here isn't about looking back after you're done. It's about the long-term influence you're building right now. It's about cultural contribution, meaningful transformation, the ripple effect of your ideas, how they shape how people think, feel, act long after they've consumed your content. The source calls it strategic grace, which is this beautiful balance between making bold moves and also doing that quiet, consistent nurturing, letting your network, your community, co-create the mission with you.
So it's less about just creating stuff and more about sparking a movement.
Precisely that. It involves mission-level storytelling, sharing your why authentically, framing your work not just as a business, but as part of a collective vision, something bigger than yourself. Liam, a tech creator, is a great example here. Started with basic coding tutorials, but noticed lots of career switchers, immigrants trying to learn new skills in his audience. So he shifted his whole mission towards digital inclusion, started running inclusive workshops, built user-led forums. He nurtured this movement, and now it's actually influencing policy, inspiring new generations. His legacy is active, it's in motion, far beyond just coding tips.
Wow. That's a truly powerful vision, leaving a mark that actually shapes culture. What a goal.
And it's built intentionally, piece by piece, through that kind of values-driven leadership.
This whole deep dive has been absolutely packed. Amazing principles, great examples. But you mentioned the source also includes a bonus creator toolkit. What are some of those practical tools listeners could maybe grab right away?
Yeah, and these aren't just theories. They're described as battle-tested systems, drawn from what's actually working for creators. For instance, there's a pivot readiness tracker. It helps you log those weekly signals we talked about, engagement shifts, your energy levels, market whispers, kind of like how Slack famously tracked user data before pivoting from gaming.
Practical?
Then there's the buyer mindset wheel. It's a visual tool, like a sentiment matching diagram, to help you align your messaging based on that market mood and buyer motivation map we discussed. Really helps content hit the mark.
Nice.
The adaptability scorecard gives you that relevance rating matrix for your ideas, funnels, and language makes the audit concrete. And there are others too, like a network clarity map to help build those thinking networks intentionally, and an emotional reset guide with prompts to manage energy and avoid burnout. Tools for that emotional efficiency.
So listeners get actual, tangible resources to put all these ideas into practice. That's incredibly valuable.
Definitely. And you don't need to tackle them all at once. The idea is pick one that addresses your biggest challenge right now, build a habit around using it, and maybe review its impact monthly. Small steps build big momentum.
What an incredible journey we've been on through Momentum by Design. Seriously powerful stuff. We've covered pivoting before panic, building those thinking networks, decoding buyer mindsets, balancing visibility with real value, cultivating emotional efficiency, running those relevance audits, and finally, aiming for that lasting legacy in motion. It really feels like a complete roadmap for designing a resilient, impactful creator journey, not just surviving, but thriving by design.
I agree. I think the core takeaway from all of this is that your journey as a creator, it's a living experiment. It's dynamic. It really boils down to choosing resilience over rigidity, choosing intuitive progress, sometimes messy progress, over waiting for perfection, and purposeful planning over just chasing the latest shiny trend. It's about combining that emotional awareness, grounded decision-making, and adaptable systems, building a toolkit that grows with you.
So, for you, our listener, maybe here's a final provocative thought to chew on as you move forward. What's just one small shift you could make this week? Maybe it's setting up that morning emotional check-in, or identifying one new potential connection for your thinking network, or perhaps auditing the language in just one piece of your content. What's one step you can take to start designing your momentum instead of just chasing it?
Yeah, every step counts. From those tiny micro decisions to the bigger strategic plans, they all reflect your commitment to building momentum that actually lasts. Your work, your voice, it has real power. Power to shape not just your own future, but the world around you in small and large ways. Stay curious, stay grounded, keep building.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep creating your unique impact.